Yeah, against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
I think it's like
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Come on.
As the big man Ian Wright just said there, people deluded, I'm back again. First things first, appreciative to everybody who is tuned in and everyone who consistently supports my content. If you're new here, smash the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. In fact, hit the like button anyways. But subscribe, turn on your notification bells. Again, one love to everybody tuned in. Again, obviously, you know, I know football is universal. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And in some cases, good night. Hope you've all woke up with fresh air in your lungs, ready to attack the day. And I hope you and your loved ones have good health. Now, let's crack on, people, lads. Let's crack on, guys and girls. As you can see here, allegedly, Arsenal hold talks over move for Benjamin Henrichs as Granit Xhaka nears exit. Now, when I think of Henrichs, I'm sure he's a German international, previously a German under-21s international. Not really pulled up any trees in world football. From what I know of him, can play left back, can play right back in his mid sort of 20s. I wouldn't say he'd be on the list of immediate targets, but I don't think he'll cost the biggest of money, and he'll provide depth primarily at right back and also at left back. And obviously we need some defensive options. You know, if we had to address key areas in Arsenal's team, if it was up to me, I'd sign a striker. As much as I love Jesus, I don't know if he lives, breathes and poos goals. I would like a more physical number 9 in addition to Jesus. We all would like competition / a rival for Saka if it's able to be done. And I do think, you know, speaking for myself only, why I would like that, and I think everybody could see midfield could do with some reinforcements, and obviously defense where we've made something. If it was purely up to me, I think we need to make sure we've nailed on our options, our depth, and our, you know, just simply having a wealth of options in defense and midfield, because yes, goals win games, and Arsenal scored 80 odd goals last season. Hopefully we can move closer to 100. It's the midfield we're going to live or die by, and defense, particularly in defense. Saliba's injury probably just highlighted how, as good as our system is, how fragile it is. As much as I like Arsenal's system and what Mikel Arteta is doing and the foundations, and I do think it's a strong sort of foundation to build upon, are the roots of the foundation, or better yet, are the roots of the system necessarily the strongest? If, for example, Zinchenko isn't there, we can't build out from the back. You know, as much as I love Arsenal and what Zinchenko does, we can't be crying about a left back not there and we're unable to link defense and attack. Obviously, we've got some good midfielders anyways, but we kind of struggle if one person's out, if Xhaka isn't quite at it, if Partey isn't quite at it. Sometimes, you know, I think you've seen it in the games against Liverpool, against West Ham away, and several other times. Anytime there's a bit of physicality in the middle of the park, we do tend to struggle. Hopefully, this summer we address that. Apparently, Arsenal's Granit Xhaka is on the verge of completing a move to buy Leverkusen in a £21.5 million transfer. Now, the first thing that grabs me when I see that is, didn't we hear it was 15 million euros? No clue on the exchange rate, but have we gone back, negotiated and said, you know what, you got to slap some more money on that? Testament to Arsenal, because every little helps. Maybe these potential outgoings, why actually I wouldn't want to sell Granit, at least for this year. It could help us obviously offset some of the incomings we brought in and maybe address other areas. Scrolling all the way down, people, we all know he had a renaissance last season. We all know he had a good time there. We all know he's been a consistent member of Arsenal starting 11 under about 3 managers during his 7-year period. And what I would say is, when Arteta initially came into the club and how Xhaka could have exited, to how Arteta's done at the club in hindsight now, and how Xhaka stands to exit, it's a lot more, you know, rosy. And definitely in Xhaka's time at Arsenal, last season was probably the one where universally everybody was kind of with him. I do think some people you've got Xhaka sexuals historically at Arsenal, people that overcompensate with Granit Xhaka. And I do think historically throughout his time, he has been scapegoated for all his shortcomings. And sometimes it's been unfair. He's always been a decent player. Whether you rate him or not, there has to be a reason. Jose Mourinho tried to bring him to Roma, and he's consistently played under Arteta, Unai Emery and Arsene Wenger. Whatever you say about them managers, they're all in the professional game. Granit must have something about him, people. So he's set to end his stay and return back to the Bundesliga. Allegedly, Mikel Arteta had been keen on retaining the services of one of his most trusted lieutenants, despite his plans to oversee an overhaul of the midfield engine room this summer. As I've previously said, we did hear rumours Granit Xhaka was getting a new deal, and it then came out by the Ornsteins and the Romanos of this world that actually all year, despite Xhaka's form, there has not been an offer of another contract. So maybe regardless of how the season panned out, Granit Xhaka's time was probably going to be limited. Maybe Granit was always angling to leave, really, because every summer he's linked with a move. And we did kind of go over this last summer, really. And to be honest with you, if Xavi Alonso and Leverkusen are going to make you more of a key player, more so than you are at Arsenal, and you're probably going to see your game time limited. If they're going to give you a 3-4 year deal and you've only got a 1 year deal at Arsenal remaining with the option of another one, it makes sense in his 30s to make that departure, get some financial stability, get some playing time stability in the sense that you're under contract, really and truly. I'm sure he's happy in London. I'm sure he's happy at the club, but it is what it is, people. But as you know, Thomas Partey, every day he's been linked with several Serie A clubs, Juventus primarily, and he's been linked with the Middle East. It does look like Lokonga would be joining Burnley on loan. Obviously, that on paper would leave us with, Thomas Partey, Onene, Jorginho, potentially Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, really. And again, some of the names I've said there, their futures are subject to speculation. It does look like to go with Kai Havertz and Declan Rice and Odegaard, that will be our new look midfield, or one of the key trios we can deploy in midfield. We're getting good options. If you bring in another midfielder, you've got the option of Declan Rice and Partey, one of Declan Rice and Partey with somebody else. Obviously, the Smith Rowes, the Odegaards, the Fabio Vieiras, the Kai Havertz, they're all hybrids in that. They could probably play eights. They can play as a 10 and they can play all about the place. So maybe that's something Mikel Arteta is looking at, people. So yeah, it's just basically said we're moving closer. There isn't too much light shedded on that. This article has gone on and talked about Lavia, allegedly, and we will smash the like button, people. We will go over several things regarding Lavia, but we all know his fee is apparently 50 million, which when you consider he's 18, 19, he's got his best years in front of him, 50 million is probably pennies to pay, but on the basis of he's only been in the Premier League one season and Southampton went down, there is a bit of an inflation, but, this is the market. Declan Rice, Caicedo, Lavia, and so on and so forth, whether they're good players or not, the market, the players' valuation and the price tag don't really correlate anymore. Liverpool and Chelsea also plotting a move for Lavia, people. Manchester City have not looked to bring him back to their place at this moment in time, people. In fact, this has gone on to say, given the asking price and competition for Lavia's services, Arsenal are considering alternative options and have held talks with the reps of RB Leipzig's Benjamin Henrichs. According to Sky Germany, Arteta is said to be a keen admirer of the player who has been capped 10 times by the German national team. The 26-year-old contract expires next summer and could provide a cheap option for Arsenal, who are primed to spend in excess of 200 million this summer, half of which will go to the imminent signing, allegedly, of Declan Rice. So, cut price option that addresses an area on paper. We'll have to see. Allegedly, on the topic of Declan Rice, he's actually cut short his holiday, people, to complete his Arsenal move. He's already agreed personal terms. We've agreed a fee of 105 million. It just seems like the finer details of that deal, the I's are being dotted, T's are being crossed, and we're getting over the line in that regards, people. All that remains is to finalize the payment structure of the transfer, and Manchester City have cleared Arsenal's path by pulling out of the race. So yeah, if he's cut short his holiday and he's set for a medical, fair enough. Apparently, he touched back in London over the weekend and he's preparing to undergo an Arsenal medical. Some in the knows on social media say it's basically done. Obviously, we hope to bring in Timber as well, so that's 3 signings to go with them too, and Kai Havertz. And as you know, the Rob Holdings, the Tierneys, the Parteys, the Xhakas, the Ballagans, the Lokongas, etc., Tavares, etc., they've all been linked with moves away. Being linked with moves away and actually offers being put down on the table for Arsenal to consider or not consider are very different things. Everybody's interested in everyone. That interest needs to correlate to other things, people. Arsenal closing on Declan Rice and Timber deals, and Duro set to sign new contracts with Xhaka to exit. As we've just said, Timber and Declan Rice allegedly are on the verge of signing for Arsenal, in which will be a combined fee of 145 million. Reece Nelson and Saliba, it appears that all that's remaining is for them to get a pen and sign a contract for their new deals. And as everybody returns for pre-season, you'd imagine that's the case in that regards, people. So we'll have to see in that regards. As we know, Pablo Marie and Ainsley Maitland Fornals have already departed, and obviously there's been a couple of other youngsters who have departed. So yeah, it'll be a testing summer. Arsenal apparently, courtesy of goal.com, have set an asking price of 50 million. Now, some in the knows on social media actually say that Balogun is keen to stay at Arsenal, in fact, and fight for a spot. I'd love Balogun to do that, but at the same time, he needs to look at the situation without romance and think, what can I do to be a dramatically better player 12 months from now, like he did last season? Because 12 months from now, he didn't have 20 goals to his name. You know, his name wasn't being chanted by the French fans. So, you know, he's an American international. He's been given the drug of consistent first team football. You know, it's down to him to stay and fight. I think he's down to stay and fight. I just think it all depends what Mikel Arteta what Arteta and Balogun and their reps say about where he's at, what he needs to do to get more in the first team. But it'd be a shame to let him go. We're likely to put a sell-on clause if we sell him, which makes sense. It'd be silly not to get a decent fee and add a sell-on clause for Balogun. For me, taking the money is the right move, says Chris Wheatley. When you look at the fee, 45 million is a good fee. I think the biggest thing for Arsenal is including a sell-on clause in which they almost certainly are going to do this summer with a couple of years. Charlie Patino is the other one who's likely to leave with Balogun. I think it's crucial that they do that. Amen. He's speaking facts. A 10%, 20% sell-on fee. That means that if Balogun goes on to be a world beater in a few years' time, they can actually be rewarded for that. Amen, really, if I'm honest. And you got to remember, he's still at the elementary stage, more or less, of being a young player. He's 22. You know, Harry Kane, Jamie Vardy, Harry Kane, Aubameyang, were they household names at 22 years of age? With Balogun now, he needs to decide, pardon me, this season that he's really introduced himself to world football. Is this just a purple patch, you know, with like Mido and Michu and all of them Premier League shots? Or can people now begin to say you're a consistent goal scorer? Only years to come. And I don't think Arsenal can win. If we sell him and he does well, we sold him too early. If we don't sell him and he doesn't keep doing what he's doing, we should have taken the money. As long as it's reinvested, it is what it is. Romano and Lavria said, we will see how that one evolves. The situation has not changed today, despite various reports to the contrary. It's the same we said yesterday. Liverpool are having contacts. Arsenal are interested, but it depends on the potential Thomas Partey exit. And I think the language in relation to bringing in another midfielder has kind of changed in that we heard, regardless of the Declan Rice saga, we was looking to bring in two centre mids. In hindsight, have we already did that with Kai Havertz and obviously Declan Rice? Let me know. Smash the like button. I don't know. Meanwhile, Chelsea are very well informed, as Joe Shields has a special relationship on the player side, so Chelsea are into it too. I mean, Joe Shields been at Manchester City, been at Southampton, at Chelsea right now. Is there any coincidence that he's got a good relationship with Lavia? He wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't. While you can't really take in Sky Sports, Dharma Sheffer says, as it stands, this is only the information I'm getting. I'm not dispelling anyone else's journalism. The interest is not there from Arsenal. Of course, that can change depending on what Arsenal do with their midfield. Again, we are expected to conclude the signing of Timber within the next week, with the player earmarked, allegedly, courtesy of Dean Irwin, to be Arteta's first choice right back, this season coming. So we have to see. This is spoken about Granit Xhaka closing in on his £21.5 million move to Leverkusen from Arsenal. Reports had previously suggested the Swiss international was set to join Leverkusen for a fee in the region of 13 million. Now it's thought that the two clubs are thought to have agreed a 25 million euro fee that will see the 30-year-old secure a return to the Bundesliga. Fair enough, and that's very good there, people. Allegedly, positive talks continue over Timber, as you can see there. We've obviously brought in Havertz. The progression of the move is not understood to be related to Declan Rice. Arsenal remain in negotiations with West Ham over the structure of a deal that will see the England international arrive in North London for a fee of up to £105 million, which would be a record for a British player, and it probably won't stand for too long. Give it a couple of years, there'll be a next one. Like Grealish must have already held that title. Declan Rice has got it. There'll be a next one. Romano on Timber said, from what I'm hearing, the agreement is close, but it's not done yet, so they're still discussing some points of the deal. Of course, the feeling is for the deal to be completed, so the expectation for this week is to get it done, then to have the medical and complete the formal process to see Timber in an Arsenal shirt. But it's not very advanced. It's not done yet, but it's very advanced. I mean, he's saying bare things, but nothing at the same time. Let me clarify that Timber only wanted Arsenal and only wants Arsenal, so he's really desperate to join Arsenal. He's convinced that this is the perfect project for him and his future, people. This was the initial talk that came out of Sky Germany. Arteta has a very good opinion on the German international Henrichs. He's contracted until 2025, and we're looking at him as a backup target. So who is the first choice target? We've been linked with Fresnay, Dark and Salo, my man now, actually Kyle Walker-Peters, Ben Johnson, a lot of fullbacks actually, Livramento. You would have assumed with Timber arriving that would have been done, but maybe there's plans to use Benjamin White a lot more at centre-half next season. Apparently Arsenal have spoken to the player. Arteta rates him. Apparently Arsenal are digging their heels in with unsettled striker Balogun, who has been told his asking price has been set at 50 million. Arsenal's Arsenal to move for Lavia once Rice is done. So a lot of conflicting reports. We're discussing the future of Marquinhos with another loan or permanent move away not ruled out. Think he needs to go on loan again. And let's turn that 3 million into something. Partey has interest from Juventus and AC Milan. AC Milan just got the big boy money from the Tonali deal, but the Saudi clubs are pressuring Arsenal for the player. Partey has returned to London, people, in line with pre-season. We've been linked with a young Brum youngster, people. Apparently Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Tottenham Hotspur, Newcastle, and saving the best till last, Arsenal are chasing young Birmingham prospect Trayvon Sanusi. Again, decent little left winger from what I've seen of the 16-year-old, people. Be surprised if he doesn't go on and do decent things in the game. Obviously, being a young teenager coming through at Birmingham, you're going to be completely linked with that. You're going to be compared to Jude Bellingham. We've got to judge him on his own back. Would love him at Arsenal Football Club. Very good technical level, but we'll have to see how he develops, people. Apparently Arsenal are still in for Cancelo, a courtesy of Kicker in Germany. Again, it's easy to link him with us with the ex-City links. Obviously, the position he's in, people will have to see. Apparently, Cancelo is top of the list of Arsenal. We have a good relationship with Manchester City. We've obviously brought in former players. We've also been linked with Sasha Boy previously, so maybe a right back. I thought the right back stuff would have been dead with bringing in Timber, but who knows? Once again, Declan Rice is set for an Arsenal medical after cutting his holiday short to return to London. At this point, we'll be going over the same things, people, but just focusing on this paragraph for anyone who doesn't know. Final details are being sorted out, including the structure of payments before Rice will go through the formalities of the move. He'll undergo a medical with the Gunners before finally putting pen to paper on what will be a long-term deal, folks. We've been relinked with Chuck Weezy. Give me Sports. Dean Jones has said Chuck Weezy's on the radar of some Premier League clubs, also in Serie A. AC Milan are really interested in him, but the price tag, which is set at around 30 million, 26 million pounds, is considered a little too high for the Italian club. Coming back to England, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Newcastle are on his tracks, people. Again, we've already spoke about Declan Rice, but Romano has said, what I can say, guys, this is really close. Trust me, really close for Declan Rice to Arsenal. The rumours that circulated today on social media about Arsenal or West Ham walking away from the deal at the moment, I'm told is not correct. While I'm speaking, negotiations is very advanced. It's really at final bits. They're discussing the final points of this story. The medical has not been booked yet, but will happen in the next days if everything goes to plan. So no worries, Arsenal fans. Declan Rice is really close, and it's about the final discussions on payment terms to get it done. Hopefully that is the case. Courtesy of Sky Sports, Arsenal are exploring potential exit routes for Nicolas Pepe, Folarin Balogun, Albert Sambi Lokonga, Nuno Tavares, and Cedric Suarez. Apparently, we're discussing the next best steps for the winger Marquinhos. As we've said, there are no issues between Saliba and Nelson's new deal. Apparently, it's thought paperwork is being finally finalized after agreements in place were struck last month, people. And once again, obviously, was allegedly reports on the Daily Mail saying Arsenal set to complete the deals for Declan Rice and Timber this week, which we hope so. Let me know your thoughts on everything. What do you think about Cancelo, Henrichs, Declan Rice, Timber, potential outgoings? Again, any thoughts, questions, talking points, get them in. You lot make the platform, subscribe, hit the like button, and do all that good stuff. Stay blessed, stay safe. Any news that emerges, I'll be back with videos and live streams and that. But for now, God bless you all.
He always used that active red light defenders. I think it's like